Hello, and welcome back to the Plastic Surgery Practice Podcast. I'm Alison Werner.
And I'm Keri Stevens, and we're your hosts. Today, we're joined by Stuart Mohr, Vice President of Marketing and Clinical at Jan Marini Skin Research, to talk about how to grow your practice's procedure results and ROI by offering clinically backed skincare. Stuart has been in the aesthetics industry for over 20 years, joining Jan Marini in 2010. Stuart, thanks for joining us today.
Oh,
Can you
thank you
please
very
just
much.
can you just give us a little bit about your background?
I'd be happy to. So, as you mentioned, I've been in the aesthetics industry for coming on 25 years now. I've been at Jan Marini Skin Research for about 15 of that. Prior, my background, while I'm VP of Marketing and Clinical now, my background is biomedical and electrical engineering. I designed lasers in ophthalmology and dermatology for about a decade um, before getting my MBA and moving to the marketing side, where I then worked for a laser company as well within marketing and came to Jan Marini Skin Research about 15 years ago. So, the fun thing in that background is, as a I'll call it an atypical background for marketing, is it's given me a wide view of many of the services and procedures that are offered in the aesthetics industry. The aesthetics industry, from a professional services side to the home care that you take home and use, to the patient takes home and uses, to how those really fit together and what you should expect from the services that you perform, from the home care you perform, and how each fits into the business operations of a healthy practice.
Okay, well, great. So let's get started. Um, Med spas and aesthetic practices have grown significantly over the past couple of years and are projected to continue to grow, offering services like laser procedures, peels, microneedling, and more. So, where does professional skincare fit into these services in these locations?
That's a great question, and it's one that has, unfortunately, a much more varied implementation in practice than it should have by what the patient is looking for. And what I mean by that, a lot of times in practices, I mean, let's be frank, why does somebody come to a practice? They go for a service. That's why you go see someone, right? You go to have injections, you go to have a laser procedure, you go to have a peel. So they're going for a service. But a critical part of the results that the office is delivering, piece of it is what you do in that service, how effectively you use it, what devices you're using. The other part of it is, what is the person doing every day at home, and are they using things that you know and you've proven to deliver the results that you're attempting to achieve? A lot of times offices don't necessarily put that together. They say, I'm going to do this laser procedure. And you often hear the, if you want to maintain these results, you could use this skincare. Well, that doesn't say get the results. That says maintain the results. Or they say, what are you using? If you want to use something I have, that also isn't it. If you look at what the patient wants, and New Beauty Magazine actually did a survey of patients. They surveyed about 1,500 patients. I forget the number exactly, but they surveyed them coming out of aesthetic services. Over 80% of them wanted to have product recommended to the patient to achieve the results that they're looking for. Every patient who goes in and has an aesthetic service now is already using skincare. The question is that skincare delivering results for the concern that they have? The answer is probably not, or they wouldn't be coming in specifically for that service. When those patients were surveyed, they said, how likely would you be to purchase product recommended by the office? 80% of them were likely to purchase the product recommended by the office. And they considered a recommendation by the office to be the number one influencer on whether they purchased something or not. Not their friends, not social media, not anything else. It was the office. But the reason they wanted it was for results. So when you're looking at the dichotomy that is this practice, they come for you for services. You should do the services that are right for their procedure, of course. But you also should recommend the home care that they're using every single day between those services to achieve superior results. And that's the part that we've done multiple studies, and I can talk about those in a minute. But using effective product doesn't just maintain the results. It doesn't just have a revenue component. And it does, and we can talk about that too. But first and foremost, it delivers better results faster for for greater patient satisfaction, faster results, and an immediate tie to your office, which is also recommendations and everything down the line. So if you don't recommend product to a patient, you're missing part of what they're looking for. It would be like going to your dentist and having your teeth cleaned and having the person say, "Oh, do you brush your teeth at home? Do you use a fluoride containing toothpaste?" "Oh, okay. Well, if you want to maintain the results of what we cleaned today, you could use this thing." Of course, nobody would say that. What you do at home is part A. What you do in the office is part B. You cannot do in the office every day at home. You cannot do every day at home the service that you do in the office. But, call it peanut butter and jelly. Peanut butter sandwich alone, I admit I like it. A jelly sandwich alone, also good. But peanut butter and jelly is better, and it's more than either one of the two alone were. So when you're putting these together, 1+1 = 3. One and one are great, but the combined is better. And that's where an office has that ability to be the expert that selects the product that really delivers results, that's proven to deliver results, and then integrates it into the service in pre-treatment, in immediate post-recovery, and in post-treatment, which is now into the infinite future, to keep it into the infinite future. Yes, I almost said past. Into the infinite future, to maintain engagement with that patient over the entire lifetime value of that patient for their ultimate results with your practice over the years.
Great. So what should plastic surgeons be looking at when they're deciding on skincare lines to incorporate into their practices?
That's a great question. One of the things that I've heard from Jan, and Jan is the founder of our company, but a comment that she said that rang amazingly true to me is, nobody says, "Hey, I've got the 5th best solution out there. I'm mediocre, but you should do business." Nobody says that. So of course an office is bombarded by everybody being the best. And everybody has the most amazing new ingredient that was, grown in tropical jungles under a full moon, and it created what's the science that shows if something works? This is where my biomedical engineering background is where I look at something. Does it deliver results? So if we're looking at our products for Jan Marini Skin Research, we have a hyperpigmentation product. That hyperpigmentation product is a non-hydroquinone product. It has a kitchen sink of solutions to solve hyperpigmentation or to address hyperpigmentation. But more important than that is hydroquinone works. People know that. So when we were looking at this product and we said we have a non-hydroquinone product that we want to bring to market, the question is, does it perform at least as well as hydroquinone? Because if not, why should an office use it? So we have a published clinical study of a split phase study using our product on one side, using a 4% hydroquinone on the other side, and it outperformed the hydroquinone at all points and times in the study and was statistically equivalent, if not superior, to the hydroquinone. Now that's why you should use a product. It's because there's true data, not a story of what a petri dish would do, not in vitro study on an ingredient. Those are interesting. That's why they put it in a product. But does it work with another ingredient? Does it negate the effects of another ingredient? Do they work? What is the final formulation in final packaging, in final use on final patients? Does that deliver results? Now that's a first hurdle. And I can share my screen and share studies that we have, but also you all
Yeah.
can look at the studies that we have. The second part that you have to consider as a practice is, what are you treating? I would love it. The world would love it if you could have one product, one technology that solves everything. Not only does it decrease hyperpigmentation and improve fine lines and wrinkles and cure acne and reduce rosacea, it also helps you lose 30 pounds. You keep your hair. Every piece of, I mean, wouldn't that be amazing? But that's not reality.
Yeah.
Reality is there are ingredients. There are ingredients that are compatible in formulation. There are ingredients that are incompatible in formulation but can independently be used on the face. They just can't be formulated together because one breaks down the other. So, what is the formulation and what are the ingredients in each of the individual products to address the concerns that your patients have? Now, a company can have a solution for one. Okay, great, you have an anti-aging solution. What am I going to do for my hyperpigmentation customers? What am I going to do for my adult acne patients? What am I going to do for my teen acne patients? And again, it's acne, but what's the market that they're looking for? An adult acne patient probably wants acne and some fine lines and wrinkles and maybe some hyperpigmentation. What am I doing for rosacea or redness? What am I doing if the person just says, I just have dry skin. I'd like something that's more moisturizing. What are you doing as your sunscreens? What are you doing? So you have to look at a more complete picture of what is it that you would like to address with the skin. And in reality, in a typical practice, hyperpigmentation, acne, fine lines and wrinkles, and rosacea are the big four. Volume and laxity filling into that, kind of the fine lines and wrinkles, but volume and laxity. And then skin types. There are oilier skins, there are drier skins. So, do you have a couple of solutions that can address drier or oilier skin? With technologies that were designed for that concern. So, a question we often get from offices: "Oh, what's your story? What's your ingredient?" Oh my God, wouldn't that be wonderful? Back to that miracle ingredient that does everything. I'd be
Yeah.
skeptical of anything that claims that it does everything. If we're formulating a solution for acne, and we have studies for acne, it's an acne solution, and we're looking at what addresses acne. If it's hyperpigmentation, we're looking at something for tyrosinase inhibitors, for melanogenesis stimulating hormone antagonists, all of that. If we're looking for fine lines and wrinkles, it's collagen and elastin. Do they cross over in places? Sure. But are you formulating for the end result that you want? If we're looking at post-treatment, was it an ablative procedure or a non-ablative procedure? How compromised is the epidermis? How much transepidermal water loss do you have in that recovery period? Do you need a more occlusive solution? Do you need a more just generally hydrating solution? Because you don't want a heavy, thick, occlusive solution on a moderately compromising, say mid-level fractional non-ablative procedure. But that solution for a fractional ablative procedure that's more aggressive wouldn't be remotely sufficient. So again, what are you looking at? And does a company have the ability to offer more of that breadth of solution for you so that you're not trying to pick 15 different companies with 15 different products?
Mm.
Putting on my business hat for a second, there is also a value in what you look at and have in a practice. In marketing, there are studies at grocery stores where there's everything under the sun. And they've done studies on jellies in an aisle, flavors of jelly. As more and more jellies and flavors were added, you got differential increases for a couple, at which point it started dropping off into less net sales, even though there were more flavors. And what that does is, it's because the consumer doesn't know anymore. If you have everything, you stand for nothing. If you have nothing, you have none of the results that you can deliver. So, do you have solutions that have vetted solutions to them that have proven results, not just stories? And finally, a consumer. Consumers are looking for brands they trust from people they trust. The practice is the people they trust. Then it's from brands they trust. And so what you offer in your practice, if you have a Coca-Cola-like beverage that's not Coca-Cola, that is a dark brown beverage called a cola that you put a different name on, are people going to be as interested in that, or is it Coca-Cola? And if the brown beverage that you have is not Coca-Cola and somebody else has a different brown beverage, do you start getting tainted by the opinions of the other one that you didn't like, even though you don't know this one? The brand, Coca-Cola in this case, it's the same quality everywhere, every time, because their brand is also on the line. So there is a value in brand, but that brand you are recommending. So you are the expert as the business, as the practice, as the physician, as the esthetician in the office, as the nurse. You're the expert recommending a proven solution that you have vetted that is designed to solve the concern that the person has. So that's how the three fit together from a how do you practice and select.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about profitability next, but before we go there, can you go back to, you talked about, you have some of this clinical results and you have some photos, and I know that our listeners won't be able to see them, but if you could kind of just talk through what they show, and then we'll also include a link to them in our show notes so they can find them there. But would you mind just kind of diving in a little bit into that?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Let me share my screen here, and I can share a couple, and then I'll actually I'll also share a little bit about how they go together with services, because how they tie into your procedure is also an interesting one. So if we just look at, let me just share my entire screen.
And just so our listeners know, if you want to see the video of this podcast, it will be available on the Plastic Surgery Practice website. And also you'll be able to find it on YouTube so you can see what Stuart's about to show us. But he'll talk through it as much as possible.
Absolutely. So let me just jump to quickly, I'll share. And do you all have my screen now?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is actually just our website. But if we're looking at acne, what we're talking about for home care results alone is before use, 6 months after use. So you're looking, this is topical only. This is not any antibiotics or oral, anything else. Skin types, anything from darker skin to lighter skin. Similarly, if we're looking at hyperpigmentation, we'll give it 1 second to load. There we go. This is an example of topical only. This is no chemical peels, no laser procedures. This is just topical in 2 months. If we look down these for any number now, you add a peel. This is the before. This is the after. This is chemical peels that we have in combination with home care for hyperpigmentation. Again, after, before. And this is just 3 months with a series of peels and products. But when we talk about, and so these are the results to the studies. When you're looking at studies, does a company have the studies that prove the data and the results of what you're looking for? This is the split versus hyperpigmentation. This is actually product using 4% hydroquinone and product using ours. In the after, both sides are definitely better, but you could argue this side of the face is a little worse than this side, which makes sense. This is the driver's side of the face in this particular patient. But in the after, if anything, this side is maybe the better of the two when you say, what's the degree of improvement? But again, this is the proof points, not just the before and after. And one thing I want to point out on before and afters, these aren't a tiny little crop in on a tiny little piece of the face that is showing that, hey, this wrinkle right here or this wrinkle right around the eye got less because I zoomed way in. You can look and tell that the face is in exactly the same position. It is exactly as relaxed. We show the entire full face in view to see that the person isn't scrunching, isn't doing, but we have the data that supports behind it. And this is across a whole host of different concerns and solutions, from acne to wrinkles to vitamin C in a split face versus a leading vitamin C, to redness to hyperpigmentation to anti-aging products, hand products, neck solutions, and published studies. So when we're looking at these, what are the studies that prove the efficacy to get that result? But let me jump over and say here, if we're looking at results with devices, if somebody has rosacea, they come into your practice for a laser treatment. Laser or pulse broadband light, IPL, works as well. But in this one, we looked at a study and we said, what if one arm of the study gets 3 laser treatments? And the reason for 3 laser treatments is most rosacea treatments, redness treatments, are 3 to 5 treatments as you're running through it. So we said, what if arm 1 of the study gets 3 laser treatments? Arm 2 of the study only gets 2 laser treatments. So the laser plus product arm of the study has to achieve equal results to 3 laser treatments, but it only gets 2, but it gets home care. Well, the interesting thing is normalized results in the 2 arms of the study. At baseline, this is where everybody started, right? This is the normalized baseline for everyone. After 1 laser treatment, the group that was receiving skincare at home in conjunction with their laser treatment outperformed the laser-only arm. What's interesting, though, is not only did they outperform it, the results after 1 laser treatment and skincare for that month was equal to the results of 2 laser treatments. But 2 laser treatments followed, this is measured at 8 weeks. So laser treatment, 1 month post laser treatment. Laser treatment 2, 1 month post. 1 month post 2 laser treatments, the arm with home care was statistically significantly superior to the laser-only arm that also received 2 treatments. Now, at this point in the study, the laser-only arm got a 3rd laser treatment, and they continued to improve. The laser plus skincare arm did not get a 3rd treatment. They could have had a 3rd treatment, theoretically moving down like this. They didn't get a 3rd treatment. They just continued using the home care products, and they continued to improve. Not at the same pace that they were when they were getting product and laser, because of course, remember, peanut butter and jelly, but they continued to improve such that it was not statistically significantly superior to have 2 laser treatments and product versus 3 laser treatments, but it sure wasn't inferior. So when you're looking at this in the practice, what does that mean? It means that if you get the product, that you're doing your laser treatments, and the person is using their home care, they're getting better results faster in the services that you're providing, while simultaneously getting secondary benefits from those products on other things that they were also concerned with. Because what if rosacea was their number 1, but also fine lines and wrinkles, also texture, also pore size, or some hyperpigmentation? You can help addressing that at home. And this is an example of somebody baseline to post in the arm getting 2 treatments and home care. Now this one, I showed this picture before. We just completed a study, and I have some of the preliminary data here. It will be published this year, looking at IPL, broadband light in this case, BBL, used in conjunction with home care. The home care was used as a pre-treatment. So think about somebody coming into your practice. They come in for a consultation on day 1. You say, you know what? Yes, we're going to schedule you for a series of IPL treatments. The first appointment we have available is in 3.5 weeks, is in 4 weeks. It's on this date. Person says, I'm not free that date, whatever. You lock in a date. This person at baseline is harder to treat with IPL. There's more actinic bronzing. There's more epidermal damage visible. You have to be a little lighter on your IPL because you don't want patterns where you miss areas, etc. At 2 months here, this is way easier to treat. Do you treat more aggressively to get these higher contrast lentigines? Absolutely. But what the topical product gets is everything uniformly, and the superficial things the easiest, which is often lighter contrast. The higher contrast ones that are deeper, those devices do those best. What if you had hit this with a device, hit this with a device? So when you combine the two of those, this is looking at somebody, our product, Jan Marini Skin Research, JMSR, plus the BBL versus the BBL alone. So at baseline, the person started skincare. They didn't get an IPL treatment. They didn't get anything. They came in at 1 month. So they had their baseline, and here was their result pre their BBL treatment. It occurs on this date. The group that got skincare, here's the patient perceived improvement in texture. They were measured at both times. This group's already significantly improved. This group hasn't had anything yet. Who's talking about their doctor? This group. Now, after a BBL procedure, still better. After 2, still better. If we look at discoloration, better, better, and better, and actually statistically significantly better at all points along this. This is by physician assessment in discoloration. If we're looking at improvement in wrinkles, better. At overall improvement with pre-treatment, this is physician assessment looking at wrinkles, at texture, at discoloration, better. So at all points, the person had better results. And this is a study we did with Dr. Ibrahim. This is an example of a patient, baseline to post with the product. Another baseline to post with the product. So when we're talking about how the products go together and how the results do, and how do you select a company that delivers results, that has the proven results to do it, and then talks about how do those tie into the implementation in your practice, that's how you put it together. The last thing in that, and then I would like to talk about the business side of it, because I think that's one that's often missed.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to segue kind of into that, but yeah, go ahead.
Let me share one final piece in how does a company help you? How do you work with a company? Do you know exactly which product to recommend every time? Does your staff know exactly which product to recommend every time? How do you pick which that product is? How do you pick what goes together? The company can help you with that as well. And so if I, again, show this, this is an example that we have where this is a book that our customers have access to, simple questions, and you can offer the patient a good, a better, or a best solution. Let's say hyperpigmentation was their number one concern. Then this is the product we recommend is good. There's a vitamin C and a sunscreen that ties with this for better or best. And here's an example of a before and after, and a before and after. If hyperpigmentation was their concern, here's what we recommend, here's better, here's best, and a solution. If acne was their concern, here's your recommendation. If volume and laxity was your concern, here's your recommendation. If redness was your concern. So the idea is you can make it really simple to direct the office quickly to solutions that are for them, that anyone in the office, your front desk staff, the esthetician in the room can do more of an assessment. The nurse who is doing injections can easily have an assessment. The services that you offer in your practice can tie in immediately and easily with tools and assets that the company can help you with as well.
Well, okay, so now that we've covered the difference that home care with professional skincare can make in, prepping the skin, prep results, and then recovery and maintaining, you started to talk there a little bit about the benefits in terms of profitability for the practice. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes. So again, let me share screen here, because it's easier to show this one on a slide. So if we think of an example, and the BBL example that I showed from our study, if you're thinking about an office, and please understand, every single person who is looking at this, your numbers are going to be your own numbers. These are broad, but the concept is what I'd like you to walk away with, and think about your own practice's numbers. But in general, you have something that you charge for that procedure. And let's say you charge $400 to $500 for a service. Within that service, you're going to have costs because you've got a 45-minute room booking with staff doing that. So you've got the staff, you may have device payments, you have overhead on the office space, everything that's in there. Let's just say that's around $250 to $350 of the cost of your service, and this is 400 to 500. So you're going to have somewhere around $200 of profit that comes from that service that goes to the business that you then turn back into everything else you need in your business. But that's the direct line that drops out. And so in 3 to 5 treatments, say an average of 4, it's about $800 of the 2K that was revenue. When you add skincare in, if you add skincare that was recommended right in that same study, it's $400 retail. The cost to you, wholesale, is half of that. So your cost is $200, which means there's $200 in revenue. But remember, this was with this service, this is what we recommend. There's no added room time. There's no added staff time. There's no added overhead time when you're adding it to the treatment that you're doing. And understand, this could be any number of treatments. This isn't just for a pulse light. This is your fractional non-ablative. This is your fractional ablative. This is chemical peels. This is facials you may be doing. This is injectables. Everything that you're doing in your practice, if it's cosmetic and it's tied to one of these concerns, in just minutes, you can make the recommendation for what skincare ties to that. Well, that means that's $200 of profit, and the person buys 4 to 5 times per year, which if you said 4.5, that's $900 of profit. You just doubled the profitability per hour of your practice. So adding JMSR to your office services, you increase the results. So you saw that. Increasing the results increases patient satisfaction. They are looking for results. That's what they're coming to you for. They're not coming to you to save money. They're not coming to you to waste money. They're coming to you for results. So if you increase their results with a solution that delivers, that's a satisfied patient. And again, all sorts of data is out there that shows that patients who are using services and home care and getting better results are your stickier patients, stay with you longer. They make more recommendations. It extends their results. They're continuing to use it over time. So it enhances them and extends them. You can double your profitability per hour in cases. Now, if this was a fractional ablative, your service procedure prices are significantly higher. But you're still adding $1,000 annual of revenue, of profit. Sorry, not revenue, of profit. Double that for revenue. With every patient with 0 added minutes, and they're getting better results tied in. So you can significantly enhance, and in this example, double your profit per room hour in your practice with greater satisfaction and greater results, which is greater referrals, which is new patients like the patients that you just treated. And everybody wants patients like their best patients. Your patients' friends are your best patients. And these are the recommendations that they're going to make because they're getting the results, while your office is enhancing the revenue that you're making per hour by doing something that delivers superior results and satisfaction to the patient. So you're doing what they want for them, and the practice benefits from it as well.
So I want to get more into the patient relationship side. I like that. So how does integrating professional skincare into recommendations affect the longevity of patients' relationship with the plastic surgery practice?
Yeah, that's a great question, and one that I think is sometimes thought about, sometimes not. If we're talking about a plastic surgery practice, and let's just say 2 services, and I know there are many of them, but let's talk about 2 services: injectables and surgery. Your injectable patient comes back maybe once a year, plus or minus. About once a year, they're coming in for their injection. What are they doing for all of the other things that they might do for services in the course of the year? Are they going to you and thinking about you if they're getting a facial, if they're going to the store and looking for something for hyperpigmentation? Did they even know that you had a laser device to do that hyperpigmentation treatment? Or did they just know you for the injectable that they did? So when you tie them into delivering more results for their concerns, you open up the door to a ton of what your office is now offering. And this is a data piece I received from a partner that we work with that has video in office um, for practices. But they were saying the data show that the predominance of patients are unaware of 80% of the services you offer in your practice.
Wow.
Think about that. All of these things that you offer, most of your patients don't know, even though you told them. And I know you tell them, but did it sink in at the time they were concerned? The more things you engage them with, they've now done their injectable and their home care for their wrinkles, which also helped them with their hyperpigmentation. And they did remember, they were saying they wanted to address their wrinkles, but also this hyperpigmentation. And you recommended this product, but that you also had this other service. Well, now they come back in 3 months later because they decided to do that service. But they've been engaging with you, and they came back in to get the next round of product as well, or to follow up and talk with the person about optimizing something that they wanted. If you jump to the surgery example, they don't come in every year. They come in far less frequently than that because it's a phenomenal procedure, but you don't have that every year. What if your home care is tied into that and is the thing that engages them with your office? Even if they buy it through your website, if they buy it and we have an e-commerce solution that helps the patient buy it from our website while giving you the profit, but even if they buy it from our website, knowing that you are the one that connected them to it, there's a reminder of you and things that you are recommending and outreaches that you may have tie that much more in. So you're engaging, the more you engage a patient with solutions that you have that deliver results, the more tied to your practice and more valuable your practice becomes to the patient, and the larger the customer lifetime value is that you receive per patient. And when you look at it from a business perspective, there is a cost of acquisition of every new patient. You don't want to be constantly finding new patients. What you want to do is maximize and optimize the value of every person that you engage with so that you maximize the customer lifetime value, both to them in what you offer and from them in what your practice gains.
Okay, so I get that someone can purchase these skincare products in office, but what happens when they run out? How does Jan Marini Skin Research help plastic surgery practices continue to engage with their customers?
Yes. So people buy product 4 to 5 times a year. That's about the number of purchases per year. And use myself as an example. I have a full-time job. I have 3 kids. I coach multiple soccer teams. I'm not driving across town to go get something in the middle of the day.
Right.
I'm lucky to get lunch in the middle of the day. So what do they do when they run out of product? Sometimes they do have time that goes across town that comes to you. Sometimes they go for that other service that they booked and they set aside and they planned it, but people have busy schedules. They run out of product tonight. Oh, that was the last one. Oh my God, I've been meaning to. I knew I was running dry. I just scraped the last remnants out of this.
Yeah.
How do I get it? If you have an e-commerce solution of your own on your own website, on your own thing, great. More power to you. It's a lot of work. You have to keep your website, keep it up to date. You're shipping things in and out. How are you doing your inventory fulfillment? All of that. That works for some practices. It doesn't work for some practices. We work with you either way. So if you have your own business and your own e-commerce with your own sales for the person to deliver it and get it delivered to their house in 2 days. By the way, today's consumer, Amazon has wonderfully spoiled all of us. If I could have a
Yeah.
show of hands from people in the audience, I know I just have the 2 of you, but I ask every one of
Yeah.
you who may have watched this
Always-
now or into the future, if you say it
Yes.
will come to you in a week or 7 to 10 days, you're like,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
One day,
no,
2 days.
right, 2 days. You want
Yeah.
something now. That's what the consumer today expects.
Yeah.
So if you're delivering that, great. Alternately, Every single customer of ours has a unique ID that we give you a link that if you put on your website, if you put on an email, if you put on your social posts, when a consumer clicks on that link and comes to our website, we know they came from you. We ask them to create an account so that you get credit for every purchase of theirs. As soon as that patient creates an account, your record is permanently tied to their account. So from that point forward, if they visit you and follow your link and come to us, great. If they just straight come to us, great. No matter how they end up buying from us, we know that they're your patient. And you get the profit from the sale as the practice. So that gets funneled right back into your business, less a shipping cost that we inventory, we fulfill, we ship, and the patient receives it typically in 2 days from order for most of the country, 3 days for a random, far outside a place. But the patient receives the product in 1 to 3 days from order, which is precisely what they expect with e-commerce that you don't have to maintain and run, but every patient automatically gets that. And if we market to them because we have a new product launch, because this product goes well with that product, you get the profit on it. So we end up becoming an accessory to your business to help market to those patients to drive profit to your practice.
Well, we have to end there. Stuart, thank you for taking the time to break down the impact that skincare products can have on the practice, both in terms of procedure results, patient engagement, and profitability. And thanks for talking about how doctors should evaluate skincare brands and what they should be looking for. Thank you again. Take care.
Thank you very much.